In every generation, two Prose are born. Chosen to watch every episode of Buffy and tell you what they think about them. This is the Prose Visit Sunnydale. Season 2.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale. I am Jeff.
And I am Eddie Cruz.
And today we have, who do we have here? The most specialist of guests, Eddie?
She's all right.
We have an all right guest. She's cool.
Yeah.
Who's our guest? Xana?
Xana Cardozo.
Hey, everybody.
She's right there.
Yeah, she's all right.
She's all right.
So today we are doing Season 2, Episode 15, Phases.
Phases.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one.
I thought so. Can I tell you, I think initially going in, I thought this was going to be like another Bad Eggs, which is kind of like a weak episode.
I think that you're just having like the withdrawals of going after, like, it's like going up in a comedy special after somebody that killed it. Like, Innocence was awesome. And then coming down off that high, you're expecting the next episode to suck. Especially seeing something as bad as Bad Eggs before Surprise.
And I guess Monster of the Week, I'm assuming. Oh,
yeah.
Shitty. But
yeah.
I fucking loved this episode.
It was a great episode. Well, and number one, while it is Monster of the Week, it definitely progresses the plot.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it introduces werewolves.
First time I actually, I like Oz.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, this episode did a good job is like bringing him in. Xana, at the end of every episode, we usually talk about the next episode and what we remember from it. Going into this episode, I know you already saw it with us, but did you remember anything when we said phases?
No, I don't remember.
What'd you think about this episode in general, though?
I liked it. I didn't have any problems with it. I actually liked the Monster of the Week episode. Because sometimes you get too, like, into the whole, I don't know. I want to be pulled out of it sometimes.
But sometimes
really
they're kind of
do.
shit, right?
Yeah, but they're still kind of... I just want to be pulled out of it sometimes. Sometimes it gets too serious and too intense, and you need kind of like the little bit of relief.
Sometimes you just need to pull out.
I would say season 6, Monster of the Weeks were some of my favorite episodes. Like the shark monster.
That's
season
awesome.
6
Yeah.
gets so intense and it gets so
Yeah.
depressing and
It gets so dark
you
that
need some
you need
relief.
something to relieve it.
Sarah
But,
Michelle
like-
Gellar actually said she didn't really like Season 6 all too much because she felt it was not really Buffy. Like,
Can
she
I tell
didn't
you
feel like
something?
she was
I
Buffy.
don't think I've ever really agreed with her on almost anything. I like the character of Buffy. It doesn't mean I like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
And plus,
I mean, she did like 4 Scooby-Doo movies.
I don't know if this is fucked up to say, but this is the actress saying, I don't know about that, but shouldn't it be the writer?
Yeah, it's all about the writer. It's about the writer and the creator, in my opinion. Like, them's the jewels, man.
Yeah.
You know?
So, Eddie, what the fuck was this episode about?
Well, we start with Oz staring at the trophy from the episode Witches in season 1. So
Which
we
is
get a throwback.
Great, I love
Which
that.
is awesome. He's like, if you stare at this trophy, the eyes move with you. And that's really cool. So he gets interrupted by Willow, who he's, I guess, timidly in love with. Not madly in love with, right? He doesn't seem to really care all that much about her.
He's casually courting her.
What do you think about that relationship, Xana? Like, so Jeff has a big problem with the Willow-Oz relationship starting out. Like, he thinks essentially that it's really forced.
Well, can I say this? I will tell you that I think initially Oz is playing way too cool and way too casual, and they throw Oz in, and they almost expect you to like him immediately. And I personally don't really like him till this episode. And eventually, I grow to love Oz, and I think most people do. But going back and seeing this season and Willow and Oz get together, it's like a super slow burn, and I wasn't into it.
I don't know. I I wouldn't say it's like a slow burn because Willow's kind of like a prude and Oz is just kind of laid back. I think it just kind of happened the way it was supposed to happen between them. Because it's not like they're both they're not overly sexual. They're not.
And that is a good point. They're not Cordy and...
Not at all. They're
Xander.
Yeah,
Dude, I am sick and tired of you guys slut-shaming Cordelia. Not you guys. You specifically, sir. No, I'm just joking. Me too.
Hey, by the way, I know that's a joke, but just because somebody is a sexual being does not mean
that they're slutty.
I'm slut-shaming them. It's awesome to be sexual.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you're me, then it's gross.
I actually wrote down here, Oz is too witty. And I think that actually is continuing. I actually have the opposite feel from you. Like, not opposite completely, because I see where you're coming from, and he's like kind of like the perfect boyfriend. They kind of set him up to be a certain way, and it didn't really work at first. But I think it's still not working, and they're still trying.
Well, I'm going to ask you how you feel that by the end of the episode.
I mean,
let's
I like
go back
him
to
more
this
because,
Oz.
I mean, the whole thing is it is giving Oz more personality. You see Oz in the first scene outside of him hanging out with Willow or looking and pining after Willow in the scene with Larry, and Oz is kind of sticking up for the girl that Larry is harassing. I would say like harshly sexually harassing.
I loved that scene because it was so high school too. It was kind of like yeah, like check this out. Like,
I don't
it just felt
know,
like,
man.
You didn't think so?
That was a pretty. I don't remember anybody doing that, like knocking the books out of somebody's hands to watch them bend over to pick them up.
I remember being 14 and in art class with a bunch of like seniors who just wanted an easy class, and we all sat at the same table, and they were all football players. They all sounded like that and were saying all sorts of stuff. They're like, hey, have you ever done this? Have you ever heard this? And it was like super intimidating. So like I felt, I guess I didn't feel as cool as Oz in that specific instance, but like I understood like this was just kind of like a high school experience I had.
So the role is reversed in the sense that Oz is not really into maybe trying to
rape girls.
I was going to say like initiate affection towards Willow.
Forcefully initiate.
He goes from nice guy to just like sexual assault. Willow ends up being the one that says, I want smoochies. And he just won't give them to me. Right?
Yeah.
So Buffy and Willow have a whole conversation about that.
And I think it's the theme in this season and episode about dating and getting to a different place in your relationship. And also, particularly in this episode, or the last several episodes, there's this like kind of physical element that keeps getting brought up.
I think the name of the episode gives you a sense of it, in the sense it's called Phases. Just basically talking about puberty. I mean, this is just about like a kind of metaphor for puberty.
And it was, again, I think we've mentioned this before, it's cool to see a show like this do it, because I know there was all sorts of like Dawson's Creek style shows and stuff like this that brought up this whole theme, but this has vampires, this has werewolves, so we get to see that theme in a show where there's fucking a werewolf running loose.
Also, during that conversation with Willow, Buffy and Willow seem to exposition cover everything that happened the last few episodes too, which is pretty convenient and good. So, Xana, can you tell me what you thought about why, like, Willow being pissed at Xander? We talked about this last time, and I think that Willow's kind of overdoing it with, like, the anger towards Xander and has not really, like, a leg to stand on. Okay.
I see it as like she's the protective friend, and maybe she still loves Xander a little bit, Like, I can relate because Jeff has been in my life forever and ever and ever. And you've dated girls that I necessarily didn't like, that I kind of like harbored hatred towards.
Not true.
You don't think so?
I'm just kidding. It's just, yeah.
But it's sort of like a protective, like, ugh, I don't like that chick. I don't like that he's with her.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah, and I can see, like, you know, Cordelia is definitely one of those girls. If you think of the type of person she is versus the type of person Willow is,
yeah, total
they wouldn't
opposite.
get along.
Total
Absolutely
opposite.
not. I mean,
Well,
to the point where Cordelia probably picked on Willow, her like a better half of her life at this point, right?
And Willow's the total opposite, and Willow's probably left to wonder, like, oh, well, what's wrong with me? And, you know, Cordelia's, like, super hot and sexy.
You know what's
and-
fucking wrong with Willow?
Huh.
Those fucking overalls. Those overalls were atrocious. I think I could see the Oshkosh by gosh like little thing on
Those
them.
overalls were like a chastity belt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing
man.
is getting through that.
I mean, you sit down in
Totally
the chair, you
impenetrable.
try to take those off. If I'm trying to finger bang a girl, that's just not going to happen with overalls like that on.
No way.
Do you do
takes
it, like,
too long. You'll kill
One
the
at a
mood.
time, one little, like, a hook
You
at a
have
time.
to,
You do
unless
both at
you're
the
incredibly skilled. Can you do both at a time?
I could do both at a
we
time.
should do a trial. Who has overalls?
Do you think there's some, like, smooth motherfucker who can take overalls off on a girl?
I think that
like, at the same time?
unbuttoning
Gross.
them
I feel
wouldn't be-
creeped out talking about this.
unbuttoning them wouldn't be the problem. The problem would be how to move the overall strap over her shoulder sensually without throwing it and hitting her like in the lower back.
Right.
Because it's metal.
Yeah, it's a metal.
There's just no
stub.
way to take
Essentially, you have a
overalls off
mace.
in like a smooth, sexy way.
No, absolutely not.
And then you still have to worry about the underwear. Like when
Yeah.
you're wearing pants, you could do like a loop through the underwear. So as you're taking the pants off, you can loop your fingers through the underwear and pull
And
both of
also
them
take
off.
the underwear off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With overalls, I don't see that happening. There's too much fabric.
What if she's going commando?
Oh, well,
Willow is
then
not.
you're
You
lucky.
know Willow is not. So I brought this up when we were watching the episode. And shouldn't, if Willow is complaining essentially about Oz not being physical with her, and they kind of have this veiled metaphor like smoochies and smoochy booches and whatever that may mean.
Smoochy boochies.
Boochies, is that what it is? Oh, well, definitely you would know. But they keep saying that. Wouldn't Buffy want to say, "Oh, well, I can, take you to the mall. I'll do a super makeover." Wouldn't that come into play
Essentially,
as
wouldn't
a teenage
Buffy
girl at all?
Wouldn't Buffy give Willow the advice of like, "Hey, you should stop dressing like that, and guys will start paying attention to you." Essentially, she's like, "Hey, Halloween can be every day, Willow."
Is that wrong? Is that like, what do you? How do you feel about that? Am I
I
like
don't know.
way
well,
off base?
I mean, maybe Buffy wants to kind of back off, and she doesn't want to be like
The one that like
exactly. Well,
turns
and not
Willow
only that,
into-
not only that, like when you dress like that, you're kind of attracting like a certain type of person.
I guess another good point I just thought of is Buffy wouldn't maybe really feel like giving out advice. She's like, well, I just banged this dude and he lost his soul, so who am I the fuck to tell you what to
Yeah.
dress or
yeah,
what to
seriously, Buffy over here banging guys 5 or 6 times her mom's age.
Well, and when she dressed,
do? But she
Willow-
loved him. Let's say that, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
In that shallow kind of like Romeo and Juliet, like fleeting love.
And when she dressed Willow like a hooker on Halloween, Willow was obviously not very comfortable with it. So maybe she picked up on that and she's like, okay, this is not for Willow.
Also, let's talk about just Angel and Buffy's relationship real quick. I'm sorry, but I got to go back and say that I still think it's incredibly creepy. And yes, I do believe that Buffy and Angel have some kind of Tinder love, not Tinder, the app, like a
Tender?
small flame starting, like that goes forever. I don't know, they have a love for each other that will last forever, but I think it's a very shallow love. They don't really love each other the way that even she and Riley loved each other. Like, you get a sense of like companionship from somebody and you go through like the shitty times, you learn more about them. All these guys got was the fluffy marshmallow at the top of the fucking hot chocolate.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But it's okay coming from Buffy because this is her first love, and she
All right.
doesn't really know
And
any
Angel,
better.
this is his. Well, I mean,
Angel
technically he has
should-
no soul, so
He has a soul.
Well, he has
He
it
does now.
reinstated, but for the better half of his life, he hasn't had a soul.
But he was
he couldn't feel love.
But he could potentially,
At the
when he
very
had a soul, he was just a piece of shit.
He was a piece of shit. So can I ask you, is this the first time he's ever been in love?
Well,
yeah,
we
maybe.
don't know that. He could have been in love before he became Angelus.
No,
You don't think
It seems like he was not in love at that point.
How old was he when he became Angelus?
Well, 46 according to real life.
I would say about in his 20s for
shit.
sure. He's I don't know what the drinking age in Ireland was way back in the day, if there even is one. But he's drinking, he's bringing girls home. Later on, I don't know if it's definitely an Angel. You see him just like, oh, whatever. He's never experienced love. He seems like that type of person. We don't know that now, just watching Buffy.
Yeah, we're just assuming. So, cut to Xander and Cordelia making out. Xander worries about Willow and what Willow's doing. And Cordelia's like, hey, you're here with me. And there's more of this like horrible attitude towards Cordelia in the sense that she is experienced, and so he's, I don't know.
They make that clear. So
abundantly clear.
They are in some sort of make out point in Sunnydale in the woods in Cordelia's dad's car, and
there's a werewolf watching.
Yeah, and she makes it a point, what was that line that I thought was hilarious? We're here and we're going to do things that, I'm paraphrasing, that I can never mention to my father because he's this and that, which is a total weird thing to say.
Because I'm his sweet little angel.
And she says he still thinks that I'm his sweet little angel. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying he still thinks that I'm a virgin, essentially, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
That's not too far of a leap.
No.
I almost feel bad saying this because it's two dudes saying this, and we're not trying to pass judgment, so we'll defer all the judgment to Xana. Xana, so that, right?
Thanks.
That's why we had you on this episode.
Just to make us not necessarily sound awful, but because we do, but make us feel better about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for being on.
Just kidding. You're on this episode because you said yes.
There was good beer.
It was the beer that did it.
No, I didn't even know there was going to be good beer tonight.
I didn't even buy the beer before I asked. At the point when I asked you, I hadn't bought the beer yet. So Xander and Cordelia get attacked by a werewolf in Lover's Lane. Basically, they get away. The werewolf's on top of the car. The werewolf's getup is atrocious. The costume.
His getup. He's wearing an outfit.
It was from Party City.
The werewolf has overalls on. They're disgusting. They're like this yellow, this puke yellow. No, but it's a really bad costume.
It is.
And he's on top of the car. They break. He falls off the car.
Can you tell it's that bad initially?
No, I mean, at that time, the lighting's really low and everything. You can't really see what's going on.
Its face or the mask.
Yeah. So cut to Xander and Cordelia telling Buffy everything that's going on and the fact that they were attacked by a werewolf.
Outside of the school, right? In the parking lot.
Yeah. Yes. What are they doing in a fucking parking lot?
That kind of is a good point.
Do you think that... I just think that basically the set that they were supposed to occupy was taken up by some porno.
See, I don't...
They are filming in St. Ives, right? We talked about that.
Yeah, but I don't think...
Which is where they film porno and 90210.
Okay.
See, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they just wanted a change of pace because they already established that it attacked the car, so why do they need Giles in the parking lot? That scene could have been done in the library very easily, and most of it would have been.
Well, you don't think they wanted to show Giles the giant hole in the convertible top?
No, because I could argue that it would have been a better scene if Cordelia would have gone off and started exaggerating about oh my God, in my dad's car he did this and that.
That's true, and I feel like it would have happened after the incident. They wouldn't have waited till the next day at school in the parking lot.
Yeah. Basically, it shouldn't have been in the parking lot. But regardless of that, Giles comes at the fact that they are fighting a werewolf.
I like that. I like that for
really
two
excited.
reasons. It's kind of the return of the giddy Giles interested to study, because the show's gotten a little bit darker. Not as dark as it's going to get, but a little bit darker, and
Definitely
it's gotten
a lot
away
darker.
from... It's gotten away from like the Giles just excited that he gets to learn more. I do like in this scene that they establish so fast that it's a werewolf. Like no research, nothing. Xander's the one who's like, oh, it's a werewolf. And they're all, oh, okay, werewolves. Yeah. Love that.
This is probably the weirdest part in the plot, and it shifts over to an assembly. An assembly in the cafeteria where...
Well, that was the gym, right?
The gym. Oh, sorry. My old school used to be the same place.
You would eat and sweat in the same room.
Yeah. Take those shoes off. They have an assembly, and then they pair everybody up to fight each other?
Well,
They're learning self-defense.
yeah, and
In gym class.
didn't they say, and I may be mistaken,
It
but
felt
isn't
like
it...
the entire school was there.
No, it was just gym class.
Yeah,
no?
just gym
I thought it
class,
was
right?
Gym class.
And wasn't it because they had already mentioned these like random attacks?
Yes,
Larry
the slain
mentions that.
animals that they had been finding.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like an assembly to me, like a emergency. There are slain animals all over the place. We have to teach everybody how to defend themselves.
And what a weird way to do that, because they're like, let's pick the biggest guys against the smallest girls.
Let's get
and...
the football players versus the girls from, not even cheerleaders, like the flag girls from the band.
So this scene is important for two reasons, which I love. You have Larry talking to Oz, and Larry has this bandage. Larry is like the fucking Uber jock who's like knocking books out of a girl's hands just to watch him bend over. But you see he's bandaged. So already you're like, he's bandaged. He got like 39 stitches, exaggerating.
Yeah, because the dog bit him. He even says, a weird-looking big dog bit me.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, werewolf. And in the same sentence, you hear Oz like, oh, yeah, like my cousin, what was his cousin
My
name?
nephew bit my finger.
My finger.
Yeah.
And he holds up his finger, and he has a little tiny bite mark at the end of it.
Which at the time, you don't think anything of. The other thing I really love about this scene was the self-defense nature of it, with Willow telling Buffy,
Hey,
all right.
you can't be super buff.
Yeah.
You got to play it cool. Keep
You
it
got-
on the down low.
Keep it on the DL,
Incognito.
girl. You might have super strength, but nobody here needs to know that.
Totally.
And, of course, Larry.
Grabs her butt.
Which
in a
is
very,
fucked up.
very, I mean, like...
In a horrible like
way.
an awful way.
Like-
He says, you're really turning me on, Summers.
And this might just be to the fact that the reveal later shows that he doesn't really actually feel anything towards her butt,
It's just...
but he just grabs it because
He
that's what he's
just feels
supposed to
things
do.
towards butts.
No, maybe, but I thought it more as like a show. I'm a jock. I have to do this. But I loved the judo throw she does on him.
She wrecks him like that would have destroyed.
That was satisfying to watch.
That stunt double did not work for the rest of the month. Like that guy had to go to the hospital for a concussion the next day.
And that was a good stunt. And
he got wrecked.
I wonder how many people see that and they're like, "Oh, that's funny," and then just move on. But that was pretty awesome, I thought.
Yeah. Cut to Giles giving a huge dissertation on the moon. Like, just...
Yeah, and
We-
he even
we
has
stopped.
like the planet Earth with a little moon orbiting.
Yeah.
There's like a whole little...
We were talking during this scene, so we
Diagram.
rewound it just to find out that he talks about the moon for like a good minute. And a half.
Why?
For no reason.
Do you think it was mostly for that joke with Xander?
The moon
whether
pie?
It's the moon pie joke?
Yeah, I felt it was that moon pie joke just to see another giddy Giles.
They moved
Yes,
into
for
like
sure.
whether or not it was a man or a woman.
But wasn't there some question as to, because there wasn't a full moon when the whatchamacallit appeared.
Yeah, actually.
So they were trying to justify like why it had happened on not necessarily a full moon night.
Exposition, great point. Because they explained that, you can now have a werewolf on 3 different nights, which is fucking awesome. But they didn't really need the whole globe and the moon and everything.
Oh, but
really?
didn't they?
I don't know.
Yeah. Buffy goes on patrol and gets caught by werewolf hunter Kane.
Kane.
Kane's
that
a dick.
Kane.
Kane's a piece of shit.
Leather from head to toe.
At like makeout point, or what was it
He
called?
went to the Wilson leather experts.
Number one, everybody else in this episode is wearing tank tops. Why is this guy wearing a leather coat?
Because it looks cool.
Because he
No, he
hunts,
doesn't.
He hunts
He looks
werewolves.
I don't know. He looks like a Southern Crocodile Dundee that's been rejected by New York.
'Cause
and
he
is
went to
wearing
the
way too
outlet
many
mall.
Shark necklaces.
He went to the outlet mall and there was a sale on leather.
I mean, we've established there is a mall at Sunnydale. Why not an outlet mall?
Well, he's a vessel for exposition and tells them that werewolves love teens who are in heat. Big groups of teen sexual
Yeah.
attraction brings him great pleasure, and that's what the werewolf is gonna go get.
That's what he gravitates towards.
Yeah.
I
So
love.
where are we going?
Ooh,
The
Lover's
bronze.
Lane.
Well,
oh,
I
and the
kind of
bronze.
love in that moment. I want to talk about this scene a little bit. I hate Kane and I love Kane at the same time.
Why do you love Kane?
He's such a sleazy douche in an episode that is about the physical nature, about relationships and teenage relationships. We see like the lover's point and all this. He sees Buffy and Giles, and instantly he thinks they're an item, or they're there to like hook up. And he has that line, which I thought was fucking awesome. It's good to get the fruit while it's fresh.
Oh my god!
He's such
I was
a
like-
piece of shit.
Jesus Christ!
And I was like, holy shit, this guy is skeezy. But at the same time, and I want to ask both of you this question, wouldn't you find it weird if you were there at the lover's point or whatever, and you saw some girl that you go to school with some school official, librarian, teacher, whatever? Wouldn't you be all like, the fuck are they doing?
I'd be totally
Well, of
creeped
course,
out.
It'd be totally weird, especially since I didn't really know the librarian. So they would, I mean, it'd just be a stranger and a student. But I'd be like, "You're way too old for her."
Totally.
But in a way, they do kind of explain that away. It's like nobody's paying attention, so they don't have to answer that question.
Right.
Except for Jonathan.
The Jonathan's not there.
Cut to a conversation between Willow and Cordelia at the Bronze, and that conversation's awesome, right? They're like,
Oh, they're
basically,
bonding.
They're bonding in the
Yeah.
sense that they're talking about each other's relationships and how it affects each other.
Yeah.
Like they're really like getting down to the nitty gritty and being like, boys are stupid. There's absolutely no reason why we should be at each other's throats. Why is your man being crazy? Why is my man being crazy?
And the first time we see that, we talked earlier in the podcast about how much Willow disliked Cordy, and we've never seen them actually bond, which is nice. It's cool. But it sets certain things in motion to make the season 3 big reveal with their relationships.
And
more,
I guess until then, they've never really
Yeah.
had common ground.
Yeah.
Like at all.
I mean,
Yeah.
Xander is there.
Until like guys, until they both started dating guys. Well, I mean, Cordelia's dated guys since forever, but until Willow started
Since
dating
forever.
a guy, they finally
Cordelia's
had
been
something in
fucking
common.
guys since second grade.
the big leagues, man.
Jesus Christ. So they're talking. They have this great conversation, and a werewolf attacks the Bronze. It's a first variation on the werewolf, and this is where we actually see the werewolf, and it's awful.
Well-
it is where I could go rent that tonight. If you guys want me to be that werewolf tonight, I can go do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Well, there's this scene that
Can
Can I borrow $80?
just $80?
there's this
That's all I
scene.
need.
There's a scene when you see him, like it's like right around at the same time. I think it is at the same time before he jumps into the Bronze, where he's like face to face with Angel,
Yeah, they do this like
and that's
face
when you
off.
that's when you realize the costume is really horrible because he's kind of like the werewolf
they do this
is
like
snarling
vampire
and
versus werewolf,
and
like,
it just looks awful.
yeah,
so
like
terrible.
Angels is bad enough, and then you turn to the werewolf, and you're like, that's a mask. That's just a fucking store-bought mask.
Can I ask, why would Angel do that?
I don't know, but did
Like,
you see?
why'd you need that
did you
scene?
see Angel back away from the werewolf?
Yes. And,
Yeah.
But, all right, so somebody needs to explain to me why this scene exists in this episode.
Well, the entire background between vampires and werewolves has been tradition over, like, the whole scope. The whole versus has been started by werewolves versus vampires.
It's also the scene where you see that Angel sucked that girl dry. The
she kills Teresa.
No,
Yeah.
we need that. I see that. But the whole
that's later.
face-off, like, why is that there? Like, I just do not...
I think it was just that was definitely an homage to all the great classics, like
Underworld?
not
like
not Underworld.
just like
Jesus,
a
I mean, there were
Monster of
movies
the Week.
before that, right? You know of like
It ties
the
into
vampire,
the Monster of the
like
Week thing.
vampire versus Frankenstein, the vampire versus werewolf.
The oldest actress I can think of is Kate Beckinsale.
Okay, that
So-
makes sense. You're a millennial. So King gets mad at Buffy for not being able to kill the werewolf. After he first got mad at her for trying to kill the werewolf. That was stupid.
Yeah, because there goes his Sri Lankan fur trade.
And like you guys said, Teresa is killed by Angel, and that kill gets blamed on the werewolf. And at this point, we see a outside shot of Sunnydale, and I really wanted to talk to you guys about whether or not Sunnydale is a true biodome of sorts. Because we really get like an outside perspective, and now we see that like Sunnydale essentially has its own mountain.
It's massive, and
Like it just has a big ass hill in it that we've never seen before.
we all talked about this during the episode, and the massive amount of locations Sunnydale has. I have an argument which is complete bullshit, but I'll just say it anyway. Mm-hmm. So somebody did some sort of, like, I don't know if it was following a zip code or trying to figure out exactly where Sunnydale would be in California, and it would be in Morgan Hill, which I have been to. Morgan Hill actually looks like that.
All right.
It's kind of hilly, not really foresty, not near a beach. So
okay.
the more than likely, if Sunnydale is close to that, which is...
Well, they only go to the beach once. So you can make the argument that they drove 3 to 4 hours to a beach. Is Morganville 3 or 4 hours from the beach?
Maybe, but Morgan Hill is like an hour away from San Jose, which is an hour away, more or less, from San Francisco.
There you
Sunnydale is supposed to be in Southern California. So to have all these different locations does not work.
Okay. Well, then I guess it's a fictional show. You cut into a forest, and you see the surprise of the reveal of this episode. Oz is the werewolf. Ooh. And of course, he understates his reaction.
Yeah, you see the werewolf, and he turns into a small ginger man.
Yeah.
not a gingerbread man, a ginger man. And he's like, huh.
He turns into the little kid from Stand By Me. No, wait, not Stand By Me. It.
No, both, right?
Was he in Stand By Me?
No. Was he? He wasn't in Stand By Me.
I think he was in It.
He definitely wasn't it.
Yeah, he wasn't in Stand By Me. But that's like essentially the same movie with a different plot.
Yeah, that's when I really start liking Oz, right here at this point. Because you understand, it's like, oh, he's more than just like the kind of standoffish. And I kind of feel he didn't have anything else to do, so they gave him this.
Yeah, and it's really like the way they give it to him, and the fact that he's so nonchalant about it. He just calls his nephews, I guess he calls his
aunt
sister
or something.
Well, his sister, and says like, "Hey, by any chance is Jordy a werewolf?" And she goes, "I guess she says yes." And he goes, "Huh." All right. Well, when did that happen? And she tells him, he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll see you later. And
the cool thing is you get the payoff for him being so casual the entire time. Before, it's for nothing. And now it's actually like it's like, oh, that's so cool that he has all these life-changing experiences and he's still just even keel.
Yeah.
And the
one
official
thing
Oz
that really,
fan.
really, really bothers him at this point, because he's a good guy, is the fact that Teresa's dead and everybody thinks that he did it. So he obviously thinks he did it. While at the same time, in the same room, they're having a meeting and Xander calls out Larry as the werewolf. Oz is
'Cause it's
pensive
obvious.
and bothered during that. And Xander is called upon by everybody to go confront Larry.
Yeah, if this is a Scooby-Doo episode, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this. All the clues lead to Larry. And I love that Xander is a person that is... You think initially watching this episode, Xander is the motherfucker in charge. He's the one that finally knows what's going on in the episode.
Yeah.
And we go right after that. Do we go to the scene?
We
in
go
the
to
locker
the
room?
scene. We go straight
Fuck
to the
yeah.
locker room, and he confronts Larry. He says, "I know it's you. I know that you're the one that's causing all these problems." And Larry is very
Well, he's
taken
like
aback.
basically like I know your secret.
I know your secret.
Know you have something that's hiding and that you're hiding and that it affects people. And there's this back and forth where you just
is great.
assume.
The acting in this scene is superb. I think Larry did a great job. The actor that played Larry did awesome. Xander's surprise to Larry coming out and saying, "You know I'm gay?" And then loving Xander for being the one that was like his guide into gayitude.
Gayitude.
That payoff, this scene in general is fucking
Like an
amazing.
attitude.
I think all of us were cracking up during
That
it,
was
just
pretty great.
watching
It was
them
awesome.
going back
it was
and
done
forth.
so well.
And having Xander not know that he's gay, and the audience,
I would
we
say
didn't know,
it's
right?
It's a second come out in television. The first is Ellen on Ellen, and the second is Larry on Buffy.
Does it mean as much?
As Ellen on Ellen? No, of course not. Larry never got his own Oprah show. There's no show called Larry on TV. So, no, it didn't mean as much.
I just, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was great. So, after that, you find out from Teresa herself, because Buffy and Xander go find Teresa in the morgue. And you find out from Teresa herself that, in fact, Oz did not kill her. Angel killed her.
The vampire formerly known as Teresa.
And yeah, the vampire form. And also just the fact that they looked at her neck and saw vampire marks.
Which I guess they're like, oh, not werewolf marks. Cool.
Hey, yeah, she's not torn to shreds.
Well, and they happen to come in the nick of time, like just at the right moment when she wakes up and she's officially a vampire. And she wakes up and
that happens
from her.
way too often in the show.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I mean, it seems like either they're waiting there for hours at a time and have the patience of like gentlemen, or it's just a little too convenient.
Well, we've talked a lot about Buffy's Slayer powers. Her best power is timing.
Yeah.
She has
it
impeccable
really
timing.
honestly is, for good and bad. So we cut to Kane, the dickhead, making
The wrestler.
Kane, the wrestler, and he's chokeslamming Undertaker. No, Kane is making a silver bullet. I would assume he already had these made, but apparently he's kind of a cheap ass, and he can only make one, taken down from like whatever silver he's wearing.
well, silver ain't cheap.
Yeah, and we don't need that scene anyway, but it's cool to see.
Yeah, it's all right. It's kind of like just a little bit of ad. You cut to Oz cuffing himself, getting ready for the full moon, knowing that he's going to be a werewolf.
That
Maybe
is-
it's to remind the audience, like, oh, you can only kill a werewolf with a silver bullet. So this is this guy making one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It is to remind the audience. I think it's funny. If you think about it as a werewolf episode, he should have that shit ready. If he's giving Buffy shit for not being prepared, why don't you have supplies, dude?
Yeah, man. That guy has to be a Boy Scout. Always be prepared. So you cut to Oz cuffing himself.
Who apparently lives at Buffy's house.
Yeah, it looks exactly like Buffy's house, just different
Different
furniture.
furniture.
Yeah.
Slightly.
And, of course, Willow, after having a conversation with Buffy about confronting Oz about becoming more smoochy-like, he goes over there and...
Well, she's taking charge, right?
Yeah, she's
Yep.
like taking charge and going over there, and she's going to
get the
demand her
smooches.
smoochies. And Oz is like, you picked the worst fucking time.
And she sees him putting on the cuffs, and she's like, what are the cuffs for?
And then he's like, I'm masturbating. Nothing. I'm just watching TV. So,
And then he, we mentioned this. His acting reminded us of something in particular. He looked like he grabbed his stomach, right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And looked like he was going to shit himself behind his couch.
Yeah. And then it looks like he did shit himself behind his couch. He changes and begins to attack Willow. And I think that's just because she's wearing that outfit.
And, yeah,
He
those
wakes
damn
up and just-
overalls.
He's like,
Well,
"God damn
Yellow
those overalls.
it's the overalls. The werewolves hate yellow and hate overalls.
They hate because
But
they're hard to get off. It's
they're-
hard to get into a girl's pants that
also,
way.
like they've established in the episode, attracted to heat, this sexual heat, and clearly that's why Willow went over. We keep talking about like smoochies and whatever the fuck else you want to call it, but she's attracted to him and she wanted some sort of physical connection. So she's there, he transforms, and he's instantly drawn to her, which is ironically what she wanted from the get-go. She wanted him after her like that, right?
Well, it's like
Maybe
the whole
not
thing is
exactly like that, but
that's the metaphor, right? The metaphor for the episode. Mm-hmm. The attack of puberty on men, and then the attack of men on women.
or maybe is it some sort of attack of women on men?
I think
Puberty?
it's the
Is it just
defense.
puberty all the way around?
Yeah, just puberty all the way around, man. So Kane almost kills Oz with that silver bullet he made, and Oz is saved and then tranquilized all in the same time.
And, yeah, and
Willow's the one that does it.
Giles busts out with this, like, trank gun
But
with
he
a
doesn't
scope.
know how to use it. I mean, why even have a scope on it, right?
Well, he got it from Amazon 2-day air, right?
No, he got it from the...
The shit was prime. Sorry.
Yeah, that shit was prime. One
The-
day air.
The Watcher's Box.
The Watcher's starter kit.
So you subscribe to a Watcher's Box, and every
Yeah.
month the Watcher's Box sends you new Watcher gear.
Yeah.
Also comes with a really good razor.
Yeah.
Like,
Great razor.
the best razor.
You get tweed. You
Yeah.
might get a trank gun.
You get a Trump steak because they don't know what to do with them anymore.
Yeah, you get all sorts of stuff. It's
Yeah,
great.
it's awesome.
Trump box. Watcher box. Get it, guys. Get it.
Yeah.
$25.99
This episode is
a
brought
month.
to you by Watcher Box. They sent me one for free, and you'll see a grand opening. Let's actually do that. So you see Willow shoot Oz in the tummy with a trank gun. That thus ending the night.
She saves the day.
Saves the day. We don't have to worry about this for another month.
Is this the first time she saves the day?
No, this is the second time. The first time was with that robot, right?
Well, we talked about this
Oh, yeah,
when MJ
Buffy
was here.
technically
Buffy,
did it.
technically.
It would have been better if... Okay, then
I made up my own story where Willow saved the day, but she didn't.
yeah, I don't remember another one.
Then I guess it's, yeah.
Yeah. So we end with Larry coming down the stairs of where he initially knocked the books out of the girl's hand. This time, he's picking up the books after another douchebag knocks those books out of her hand. And comes up, says, "Hey, Xander, thanks for that thing you did. I'd like to apologize to
Women
you
everywhere."
and women and everything."
He didn't apologize to Xander. He just said, thank you, basically, right, for
Yeah.
helping me with my thing. And whenever you're ready, bro, you can
Suck my dick.
come out.
We can totally be butt buddies. It's going to be great.
We can have a moment in the boys' locker room shower.
And then we can try fisting.
I'll drop the soap.
I cringed. You couldn't tell that, but I cringed when Eddie said that.
And this episode ends with Oz and Willow kissing. Their first kiss.
But like not like a fucking gross sloppy kiss.
No,
it was just like a little,
they had a
it was
conversation. At the end of it, Willow leaves the screen and comes back in for the kiss, thus initiating the action. It's incredibly awkward and at the same time nice and comforting. Oz says, "I'm a werewolf in love." And it's very, very cheesy and lame.
But I was into it.
Yeah, but I fell for it. It was good.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like all the other characters would have it any way they could take it in this episode, but you wouldn't have it any other way.
No way.
When you're a teenager, you just take it however you can get it.
I didn't get
Pretty
any.
much.
I
Because
just
you
got
don't really know yet what you want when you're a teenager. So
Yeah.
you take it any way you can get it.
Can I ask you all about how you felt about the reveal of Oz as the werewolf?
A little obvious.
You think it was like super obvious?
I don't know about super obvious, but definitely not super hidden.
Shanna, how did you feel about the reveal?
It was so long ago, Jeff, that I honestly can't remember.
Currently watching it right now.
Well, because now I know, so I wasn't really surprised.
No, surprised or not, do you like the fact that it was Oz and how they did it, or was it kind of like bullshit to you?
No, I liked it. I like Oz. I think Oz is great, and I like the whole werewolf thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
I did like that they had the werewolf to
the
whole...
the actual costume was fucking garbage.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really glad that in the next episode they were like, hey, let's change that.
Was it the very next one? Or...
No, the next episode they did vampire or werewolves in.
Yeah.
It's probably, I think, early season 3.
Once they made it a little more human looking, that was awesome.
Yeah, they kind of hybrided it. They were like, no more snout. Let's take that off. And we got something now.
So I have a question for Shanna, and you can answer that as well, Eddie. But they make a comment in the episode about men being so mysterious. And is that true, or is that just true to teenage women? Because I feel that men aren't that mysterious. They're pretty predictable.
That's like the fucking like lifelong, it's the cliche forever and for always. Men are mysterious and women are mysterious and blah, blah, blah.
That we can't understand each other.
Exactly.
Men are
Just-
from Mars and
Yeah,
women are from Venus.
that whole
Nobody's
crap.
from Earth.
I feel like guys are super predictable, so...
I'm
Well,
sure
I would-
you do,
I would agree, but
I'm sure
at
you
that-
don't feel like that towards women. I'm sure you feel like women are like, what the fuck is she thinking?
No, because I think they're smarter and have like a bigger emotional range than men.
Then that's,
At
that's a
16, I would
change.
argue that
You're the
nobody
only
really
one.
understood. Like, women didn't understand guys, especially like. Let me ask you a question.
When
Did you
you're
go-
16, what do you really understand? You don't understand yourself. You're fucking 16.
I knew how to fucking dish one out. I could squirt.
Oh my God.
Like onto a dartboard.
Yeah, but emotionally, did you
Yeah,
really
no,
know what
absolutely
you
not.
wanted out
Can I
of
ask
it?
you a question? Growing up, did you go to a like all girls school?
Yes.
Yeah!
Did you have like an unrealistic expectation of what guys were going to be like by the time you got
No,
out there?
because I only went to all girls school when I was in 6th grade, so I wasn't really even thinking about guys that much yet.
Right on. That's good. See, I have this like idea that when you go to an all-girls school, by the time you come out, you think all guys are going to be knights in shining armor, and then they turn out to be date rapists. Like they just all turn out to be like I like corn. And
The funny thing is,
I like corn and making babies.
yeah,
you might be both. You might be a knight in shining armor and a date rapist. Like, who knows?
that's true. Sir Lanahan. I don't know, I just made that out. I'm sure there's
Sir Lanahan.
there's a Sir Lanahan, but I don't know if he's a rapist. I know that most of those guys. I remember all those. What the Canterbury Tales?
Canterbury Tales.
And that was like fucking full of just like, these knights that rape women.
Geoffrey Chaucer.
What's that?
And they're all syphilitic. They all have like.
There is a specific one where that happens, right? The hand. No, I was gonna say the Handmaid's Tale. I don't remember. This one where like a witch pretends she's young. The guy rapes her, and she essentially says like, your punishment is I'm giving you a beautiful wife. You remember that one? They're all so fucked up.
Why don't they make that into an HBO series? I'd watch that. The Canterbury Tales would be so entertaining. That was good. That was one thing from high school that I remember liking in English.
Yeah. No, they're fucked up.
So I'm going to say one more thing, or ask one question. Slayer's strength was kind of random in this episode,
Slayer's strength is always random.
Well, you want to remind the people that there is Slayer strength,
so
that it's there.
So Buffy just does that. Buffy does that awesome judo throw and destroys Larry's body, and he should be in a cast.
All of his ribs, an arm, and a hip.
Larry has some sort of like
super sound too. Does he make like a? I can't remember.
I'm sure he did, and they just like fucking edited that out.
You can hear a collapsed lung
when he's screaming for his daughter and wife.
Larry should have some sort of superhuman power because he got up and went to school the next day.
Dude. Like, no problem.
So we see that, and we see Buffy bending the trank gun.
Yeah, she's bending like a steel gun.
Uh-huh.
Just like, imagine grabbing
the barrel.
A steel
she bends
frame
it in half
of a bike and just bending that shit.
Yeah.
She can do that.
Now, think about that, and think about what she did to Angel's wiener. And you can understand how he lost his soul.
I like thinking about what she does to Spike's wiener, because those scenes were better.
But if...
They were done better.
Yeah, I totally may or may not put all this wiener conversation in, but I kind of like it.
He's got that vampire strength.
Yeah.
So I imagine his penis has got the vampire strength.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey.
How about the deaths?
Yeah, there were two.
There were two.
Who is the other one?
So it was
Teresa?
essentially the same person. It was Teresa twice.
Okay. What?
So Teresa died.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Yeah, from Angel
Lost her
as
soul.
a human.
And
Xander killed Teresa
as a vampire.
Does that count? So you're counting both of those?
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are deaths.
Okay.
Yeah, or else we wouldn't count any vampires.
All right.
We'd count the people they were before they got killed.
The crazy thing, it's kind of been a while since Buffy's killed anybody, and I guess this is part of the show. She's off her game.
Yeah.
Xander's killing a vampire that Buffy can't.
The way I see it is we see 24 days of a 365-day year.
But Buffy, her heart is wounded, Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah, she is wounded. And she might have a little bit more respect and love for all vampires. No.
Well, and also we got to remember that, like, the reason, you know how there's like a Slayer and then that one gets killed off and then another Slayer emerges?
Yes.
So the reason she's made it this far is because she's got the Scooby Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the next episode we're doing is Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered.
I don't remember anything about this episode except for it was Valentine's Day.
You have to remember something.
Well, there was
I remember
more.
Even less than you do.
So what happens?
I think Jenny Calendar dies in this episode.
What? No, don't. Spoiler.
Damn it.
Okay, delete it.
Okay,
No,
I
keep
think
going.
that somebody might die in this episode.
Jenny Calendar?
God damn it!
What else happens?
Somebody might die in this episode.
No.
Other than that?
All right.
I think that's all that happens in this episode.
Shit, I really don't remember.
I remember that it's Valentine's Day, and I think he sends her a heart, like a real heart.
Oh, Angel.
Right. Does that happen?
All right. I think so, yeah.
Something like a pig's heart.
Is it
maybe?
good?
Yeah, it's coming back.
See, I don't remember if it was good or not. I know that it moves the plot progression forward, and I think this is the episode where everybody turns on Angel and says, like, Buffy, you need to kill this motherfucker. But I don't remember any other specifics.
Well, fuck. I guess we'll have to...
I definitely know that Xander goes real hard on Angel this next episode.
Like, I'm not.
Like,
I'm not gonna like Larry Hard.
Yeah, he's going like fucking full all in.
Well, fuck, we're gonna have to see what happens next episode.
Well, fuck yeah. Hey, you guys want to get under the covers just to stay warm?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of, can I stop and get a beer?